All right, so you're getting ready for this minister of religion interview,
Yeah,
and it's a big deal. But we're here to help.
absolutely.
We've got all these RoleCatcher resources, career guides, sample interview questions, even info on their AI tools.
It's amazing what they offer.
It is. So in this deep dive, we're going to walk through those sample interview questions, give you the inside scoop on how to approach them, and weave in some career insights along the way.
Sounds good.
And then, of course, touch on how RoleCatcher can help you refine your answers and really stand out.
Makes sense.
Perfect.
Oh.
Let's start with the basics. What does a minister of religion actually do day to day?
Right.
I mean, the career guide paints a picture that goes way beyond just Sunday sermons, right?
It really does, yeah.
Well, what are we talking about here?
Well, you're leading religious organizations, providing spiritual guidance, counseling individuals,
Right.
community outreach. It's a dynamic role.
It is.
It touches so many aspects of people's lives.
Yeah, and you could even find yourself involved in missionary work, correct?
Depending on the denomination and your interests. Absolutely.
And speaking of denominations, it looks like work environments can vary quite a bit too.
Absolutely.
So give us a sense of that.
Well, some ministers work in those traditional settings,
Right.
churches or temples,
Yeah.
while others might have a more independent role within their community.
I see.
And here's where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
The guide highlights how technology is transforming this field.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, ministers are using online platforms,
Uh-huh.
social media, even virtual reality to connect with their communities in new ways.
That's a fantastic point to bring up in your interview, by the way.
It is.
I mean, showing that you understand that evolving landscape and are comfortable using technology, in your ministry, that's going to make you stand out as a forward-thinking candidate.
Definitely.
Okay, so are you ready to tackle some of these interview questions?
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with a classic. What inspired you to become a minister of religion?
Okay.
Seems straightforward,
Right.
but there's a real art to answering this one effectively.
There is.
So how do you approach it?
Well, it's more than just stating a fact.
Yeah.
It's your chance to tell your story.
Right.
Share what ignited that spark within you.
Yeah.
What was that defining moment or experience that led you to this path?
So think about specific events, people, or even passages from Scripture that influenced your journey. Right?
Absolutely.
It could be you witnessed the transformative power of faith in someone's life, or maybe you felt a deep calling to serve others.
Right.
Whatever it was, just be genuine and let your passion shine through.
Yeah.
And be prepared for follow-up questions, too.
Uh-huh.
They might ask about challenges you face along the way.
Right.
Or how specific people have guided you.
Yeah. It's about showing the depth of your commitment
Right.
and the authenticity of your calling.
Okay, moving on to question number 2. This one delves into the heart of your ministry.
Okay.
How do you approach counseling individuals who are struggling with their faith?
That's a big one.
It is. This one can be tricky.
For sure.
So let's break it down.
Okay.
What are your initial thoughts?
Well, it definitely requires a delicate touch.
Right.
And the career guide emphasizes active listening
Uh-huh.
and empathy as crucial skills.
Yeah, it's about creating a safe space for people to share their doubts,
Right.
fears, and struggles without judgment.
Exactly. You're not there to impose your beliefs or offer quick fixes.
Right.
It's about truly hearing and understanding where they're coming from
Mm.
and then guiding them toward a deeper connection with their faith,
Right.
using the teachings and principles of your religion.
Now, don't be surprised if they throw in a hypothetical situation, too.
Right.
Like how you'd counsel someone dealing with grief,
Mm-hmm.
questioning their beliefs, or facing a moral dilemma.
Right.
They want to see how you apply those counseling skills
Exactly.
in real-world scenarios.
Right. So think about how you would offer support and guidance
Okay.
while staying true to your faith
Right.
and respecting the individual's autonomy.
Yeah.
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
But showcasing your ability to navigate these complexities will impress the interviewer.
Okay, question 3 shifts the focus to work-life balance.
Okay.
How do you balance the demands of your role as a minister with your personal life?
Mm-hmm.
And remember, we mentioned this job can have irregular hours,
Right.
often requires emotional heavy lifting.
For sure.
So it's important to show you can handle that.
It is.
What are your thoughts?
Well, it's a great opportunity to demonstrate your self-awareness and organizational skills.
Right.
The interviewer wants to see that you understand the importance of setting healthy boundaries
Okay.
and prioritizing your well-being.
So think about how you manage your time.
Right.
Delegate tasks
Mm-hmm.
and make sure you're taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Don't be afraid to mention specific practices that help you recharge.
Yeah.
Spending time in nature, connecting with loved ones, or engaging in a hobby that brings you joy.
Right. Self-care is essential for anyone in a demanding role.
It is.
And it shows a level of maturity
Yeah.
and sustainability that hiring committees look for.
Okay, let's move on to question 4. How do you stay up to date with current events and social issues that may impact your congregation? What are we thinking here?
This one is all about demonstrating that you're engaged with the world around you and understand how those events and issues connect to the lives of your congregation.
Right. It's not just about reading the headlines.
Right.
It's about critically analyzing those events and thinking about their implications through the lens of your faith.
Exactly.
So be prepared to discuss how you would address a specific current event with your congregation.
Okay.
Whether it's a natural disaster, a political election, or a social justice movement. They want to see how you would approach these complex issues with sensitivity, wisdom,
Right.
and guidance from your faith.
For sure.
Now, let's dive into conflict resolution,
Okay.
a key skill for any minister.
Absolutely.
Question 5 asks, how do you handle conflicts within your congregation?
Right.
What's the strategy here?
Well, this is your chance to highlight your diplomacy skills.
Okay.
And your ability to listen to multiple perspectives. They want to see that you can facilitate communication, mediate disagreements,
Right.
and guide people towards understanding and resolution.
It's not about taking sides
Exactly.
or imposing solutions, right?
Wow.
It's about creating a space where people feel heard and respected, even amidst disagreements.
Yes.
Sharing a specific example of a time you successfully mediated a conflict that'll make your answer even more impactful.
Real-world examples always add weight to your claims.
Okay, now question 6 delves into the complexities of inclusivity. How do you approach counseling individuals from diverse backgrounds and belief systems? So this is about demonstrating your cultural competence
Right.
and your ability to provide guidance and support, even when someone's beliefs differ significantly from your own.
It is. It's about respecting those differences while remaining true to your own faith and principles.
They might even present you with a scenario where someone's beliefs directly conflict with your teachings.
Right.
Think about how you would approach that situation with empathy,
Okay.
understanding, and a willingness to engage in respectful dialogue.
Good points.
Okay, question 7 touches on a sensitive topic.
Okay.
How do you approach addressing controversial or sensitive topics in your sermons? What are your initial thoughts on this one?
This one is all about finding that balance between staying true to your beliefs and respecting the diverse views within your congregation.
Yeah.
You want to foster dialogue and understanding,
Right.
not shut down dissent or create division.
So think about how you would address a controversial issue
Okay.
in a way that is both truthful and compassionate,
Right.
acknowledging different perspectives while staying grounded in your faith.
Absolutely.
They might even ask for a specific example, so have one in mind.
That's a good idea.
Now, question 8 shifts the focus to community.
Okay.
How do you approach collaborating with other religious leaders and organizations in your community?
Yeah.
What are we thinking here?
This is your chance to showcase your collaborative spirit
Okay.
and your commitment to interfaith dialogue.
Right. Like any experiences you've had working on interfaith projects, attending interfaith events, or building relationships with leaders from different faith communities?
Yeah, those collaborations are increasingly important in our world.
They are.
So demonstrating your willingness and ability to work with people from diverse faith backgrounds will definitely be an asset.
Okay, we've got 2 more questions to go.
Okay.
Question 9 asks, how do you measure the success of your ministry? What's going through your mind when you hear that?
This is a great opportunity to go beyond just numbers and metrics.
Yeah, think about the impact you want to have on people's lives.
Right.
The connections you want to foster and the values you want to embody in your ministry.
It's about aligning those metrics with the core mission and purpose of your role.
Right.
And demonstrating that you understand success goes beyond attendance numbers or fundraising goals.
Exactly. And finally, question 10. How do you inspire and motivate your congregation to live out their faith in their daily lives?
Okay.
What are we thinking here?
This is your chance to showcase your passion, your creativity, and your ability to make those teachings relevant and meaningful in the context of everyday life.
So think about the ways you engage your congregation, the stories you share, and the opportunities you create for service and growth.
Right.
Do you utilize technology, incorporate creative arts, or focus on community outreach?
Those are all great options.
Whatever your approach, let your enthusiasm shine through.
Definitely.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We had.
Tackling 10 tough interview questions, offering insights on how to approach each one effectively.
Yep.
But we're not done yet.
Oh.
In part 2 of this deep dive, we'll delve even deeper into these questions.
Oh, okay.
Exploring nuances and offering more specific examples to help you craft compelling answers.
Sounds good.
We'll also touch on how RoleCatcher's AI tools can be a game changer when it comes to refining your responses and ensuring you're hitting all the right notes.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into preparing for that Minister of Religion interview.
You're right back in the hot seat, ready to dig even deeper into these interview questions.
Absolutely.
And really refine your approach.
Let's do it.
Perfect. In part 1, we tackled those 10 crucial questions from RoleCatcher.
Right.
But now it's all about nuance.
Okay.
Remember that first question. What inspired you to become a minister of religion? We talked about sharing your story.
Right.
But how do you make it truly captivating?
Well, it's about finding those pivotal moments that resonate with your authentic self.
Give me an example.
Was there a specific event that shook your world? A person who inspired you? Or maybe even a passage from Scripture that spoke directly to your soul?
I see. So it's about finding that thing that really lit a fire in you.
Exactly.
And the career guide actually mentions how some ministers find their calling through serving others, witnessing the power of faith firsthand.
That's a powerful point.
It is.
If you've had those kinds of experiences, definitely weave them into your story.
Right.
It shows a genuine connection to the heart of ministry.
And don't be afraid to get personal.
Yeah.
Sharing your vulnerabilities can create a real sense of connection with the interviewer.
The vulnerability can be incredibly powerful.
It can.
Especially in a role that demands so much empathy and compassion. It shows you're human. You've faced challenges and you've grown from them.
Okay, let's move on to the counseling question.
All right.
How do you approach counseling individuals who are struggling with their faith?
Yeah.
This one can feel really daunting.
It can.
What are your thoughts on how to approach it?
Well, it's important to show the interviewer you have a solid framework for approaching these sensitive situations.
Right.
And remember, the guide highlights active listening as a crucial skill here.
It does, but what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, it's about going beyond just hearing words.
Okay.
It's about paying attention to body language, unspoken emotions, and the deeper meaning behind what someone is sharing.
So it's about creating that space where they feel truly seen and understood.
Exactly. Wow. And it's important to validate their feelings. Even if their beliefs differ from your own, you're not there to judge or offer easy answers. You're there to guide them through their struggles with compassion and wisdom, drawing on the teachings of your faith.
The guide also emphasizes the importance of understanding religious doctrine in this context. How do you think that plays into counseling?
Well, it's about having that deep knowledge base to draw from. It's about understanding the principles, the teachings, and the historical context of your faith.
I see.
So you can offer guidance that is both grounded and relevant to the individual's experience.
And remember, they might hit you with a curveball.
Oh, yeah.
A hypothetical situation, like counseling someone who's questioning the existence of God, dealing with a loss of faith, or facing a difficult moral dilemma.
Sure.
So this is where your ability to think on your feet comes in.
It is.
It's about applying those counseling principles to a specific scenario.
Exactly.
And demonstrating that you can navigate those complexities with sensitivity and grace.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's shift gears to a question that's super relevant in today's world. How do you stay up to date with current events and social issues that may impact your congregation? What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, this is about showing you're not living in a bubble. It's about demonstrating that you're engaged with the world around you and understand how those events and issues connect to the lives of your congregation and the principles of your faith.
And it's not just about passively consuming news. It's about critically analyzing information. Seeking out diverse perspectives and engaging in thoughtful dialogue about complex issues.
Exactly.
So think about specific examples of current events that might be relevant to your ministry. Climate change, social justice movements, political polarization. How would you address these issues with your congregation, drawing on the teachings of your faith.
Those are all important considerations.
They are, and they might even throw in a hypothetical situation, like how you would respond to a specific event within your community.
Nice.
Be prepared to articulate your approach in a way that is both informed and compassionate.
Great point.
Okay, let's revisit the conflict resolution question.
All right.
How do you handle conflicts within your congregation? We talked about diplomacy and active listening.
Right.
But what are some specific strategies you can highlight?
Well, one technique the guide mentions is mediation.
Okay, tell me more about that.
It's about facilitating a conversation where each party feels heard and respected.
Right.
And then guiding them towards a mutually agreeable solution.
Another key strategy is to focus on common ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even in the midst of conflict, there are often shared values or goals that can serve as a starting point for resolution.
Exactly.
Helping people to see those commonalities can be incredibly powerful.
It can.
And don't forget the power of storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
A real-world example of a time you successfully mediated a conflict can make your answer much more compelling and memorable.
Absolutely. Now, let's dive deeper into the question about inclusivity. How do you approach counseling individuals from diverse backgrounds and belief systems?
Right. This is where your cultural competence really comes into play.
It does.
So what are we thinking about here?
Well, it's about demonstrating that you can create a safe and welcoming space for individuals from all walks of life, regardless of their background, beliefs, or experiences.
And think about the challenges someone from a marginalized community might face.
Right.
Or how you would approach counseling someone whose beliefs differ significantly from your own.
Yeah, the guide emphasizes the importance of respecting those differences while remaining true to your own faith.
Right. It's a delicate balance.
It is.
But it's crucial for creating an inclusive and supportive environment within your ministry.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk about that question that often makes people squirm.
Okay.
How do you approach addressing controversial or sensitive topics in your sermons?
That's a tough one.
It is, because you want to stay true to your beliefs and the teachings of your faith, while also being sensitive to the diverse views within your congregation.
Exactly.
So the guide suggests focusing on finding that sweet spot between conviction and compassion.
I like that.
So how do you actually do that?
Well, it's about framing those topics in a way that encourages dialogue and understanding, rather than shutting down dissent or creating division.
Right. So think about how you would approach a sensitive issue like LGBTQ plus rights, abortion, or political polarization. How would you present those topics in a way that is both truthful and respectful of different perspectives?
Those are challenging but important conversations to have.
They are, and they might even ask for a specific example of a controversial sermon you've given.
Right.
And how you navigated those complexities.
I see.
Be prepared to share your thought process and your approach to engaging with diverse viewpoints.
Makes sense.
Okay, on to community collaboration.
Okay.
How do you approach collaborating with other religious leaders and organizations in your community? We talked about interfaith dialogue.
Right.
But how do you actually make those collaborations happen?
Well, it starts with building relationships.
Okay.
The guide mentions attending interfaith events, reaching out to leaders from other faith communities, and finding common ground where you can work together towards shared goals.
Think about specific projects or initiatives you've been involved in.
Okay.
Maybe it's a community service project, a joint fundraising effort, or even just regular meetings to discuss shared concerns and learn from each other's perspectives.
Those are all great examples.
They are, and these collaborations not only benefit your congregation and the wider community, but also demonstrate your commitment to interfaith understanding and cooperation.
Absolutely.
Now, let's revisit the question about measuring success.
Okay.
How do you measure the success of your ministry? We talked about going beyond numbers.
Right.
But what are some concrete examples of those non-numerical indicators of success?
Well, the guide mentions spiritual growth as a key metric.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
It's about seeing individuals within your congregation deepen their faith. Connect more deeply with their spiritual practice, and live out the values of their religion in their daily lives.
Another important aspect is community engagement.
Absolutely.
Is your congregation actively involved in service projects, outreach programs, or initiatives that benefit the wider community?
Right.
Are people connecting with each other?
Yeah.
Building relationships and supporting one another?
Those are all signs of a thriving and impactful ministry.
They are. And don't forget about personal fulfillment.
Oh, that's important too.
It is. Are you feeling energized and inspired by your work? Are you making a positive difference in the lives of others?
Right.
These are all valid measures of success, even if they can't be quantified.
I agree.
Okay, and finally, let's wrap up with that inspiring question. How do you inspire and motivate your congregation to live out their faith in their daily lives?
That's a great one.
We talked about passion and creativity.
Right.
But let's get specific.
Okay.
Think about the ways you make those teachings relevant to everyday life.
All right.
Do you use storytelling? Incorporate contemporary music or art?
Yeah.
Or connect those teachings to current events?
Those are all good approaches.
They are. And the guide mentions that some ministers are utilizing technology in really innovative ways.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Creating online communities.
Okay.
Developing podcasts or video series. And using social media to share inspirational messages.
Right.
And connect with younger generations.
That's smart.
It is.
Reaching people where they are.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you and your congregation.
Right.
And then infusing it with that genuine passion that will inspire others.
Absolutely.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Diving deeper into those crucial interview questions and offering even more specific insights and examples.
For sure.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle that can really give you an edge.
Okay. What's that?
RoleCatcher's AI tools.
Ah.
In part 3 of this deep dive, we'll explore how their platform can help you refine your answers.
Okay.
Practice your delivery. And navigate the entire interview process with confidence.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to our deep dive. We've spent the last 2 parts really getting into those Minister of Religion interview questions.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
We have. But now it's time to talk about RoleCatcher's AI tools.
Okay, yeah, those are super helpful.
They can be a real game changer when it comes to interview prep.
For sure. They give you that extra edge.
Exactly. So let's start with their CV resume builder.
Okay.
You know, I always struggle with making my CV stand out.
Yeah, me too.
Especially for a role as unique as Minister of Religion.
It's hard to know what to highlight.
It is.
Right.
It's like you have all this experience and passion. But how do you translate that into a CV that really grabs their attention?
That's where RoleCatcher's AI is amazing.
It is. Tell me more about that.
Well, it analyzes the specific job description,
Okay.
identifies the key skills and keywords they're looking for, and then helps you tailor your CV to highlight those relevant aspects of your background.
So it's like having a personal CV consultant.
It really is.
But powered by AI.
Exactly. It can even suggest specific wording,
Oh,
highlight relevant accomplishments, and even help you structure your CV
Okay.
in a way that's both visually appealing and easy to scan.
So it's not just about listing your past roles.
Right.
It's about presenting them in a way that aligns with what they're looking for.
It's about speaking their language, showcasing how your experience directly matches their needs.
And it takes the guesswork out of it.
Totally.
You're getting targeted guidance based on data and analysis.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got a stellar CV.
Okay.
But what about the interview answers? Even with all the prep work, it's still nerve-wracking to think about delivering those answers confidently.
It is, yeah.
And that's where RoleCatcher's AI feedback feature is so helpful.
Tell me more about that.
You can input your practice answers
Okay.
and get personalized feedback
On what?
on your content, your delivery, your overall effectiveness.
Wow, so it's like having a virtual interview coach.
It really is.
That's amazing.
It is.
So it analyzes your responses and tells you what's working and what could be better?
Exactly. It can identify areas where you might be rambling,
Okay.
where you need more specific examples, or even where your tone could be adjusted.
That's so helpful.
It is, especially for a role like this.
Right.
And if you want to take it even further, RoleCatcher also offers an AI-powered video practice feature.
Now we're talking. I've always wanted to see myself in an interview setting,
Right.
but never had a mock interview with a professional.
Well, with RoleCatcher, you can record yourself answering those questions and get feedback on your body language, your tone of voice, your overall presentation.
So it's like a personal video analysis session.
It is. But with AI insights,
That's incredible.
it can point out things like nervous habits,
Like what?
whether you're making eye contact, even how your facial expressions are coming across.
So it's not just what you're saying.
Exactly. It's how you're saying it.
And how you're presenting yourself. Okay, that makes sense.
So let's recap.
Okay.
RoleCatcher's AI tools can help you tailor your CV, refine your answers, practice your delivery, and get feedback every step of the way.
It's a whole team of career coaches in your corner.
It really is.
All powered by AI.
And much of it is available for free.
No way!
You can sign up and start using those core features right away.
That's amazing.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
I think it's preparation is key.
It really is.
This is a demanding role. And the interview process will reflect that.
But with the right resources and the willingness to put in the work,
you can ace that interview.
And RoleCatcher gives you the tools and insights to do just that.
Absolutely.
So go out there, embrace those AI-powered resources, and let your passion shine through.
Good luck.
We're cheering you on.